talk about the father of the bride house for a reason.
This is our house.
It's just fabulous.
I'm engaged. I'm getting married.
Little tin soldier.
Oh, yeah. George.
Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jon Hutman. I'm a motion picture production designer, and you may know my work from the films that I've done with director Nancy Meyers, including Something's Gotta Give, The Holiday, and It's Complicated. Today we're going to talk about two classic romantic comedies, Father of the Bride and Father of the Bride Part 2 by filmmakers Nancy Meyers and her husband Charles Shire. Today's video is sponsored by Foreo and their new FAQ 202 LED face mask. The first movie follows the story of a father who finds out that his only daughter is about to get married. The second movie picks up when the daughter announces that she's pregnant. Annie's mom finds out that she's pregnant at the same time. There was a different production designer, Linda DeScenna, on the second movie than the first movie, Sandy Veneziano. In these movies, you can begin to see the foundation of what would later be known as the Nancy Meyers aesthetic.
My house.
The exterior of the house is a real location in Pasadena, California. The street is beautiful and tree-lined. The house is warm, classic, timeless. What I would call a 1920s suburban interpretation of a classic colonial house. The house is white, dark green shutters. It's a little shorter and wider, but it has the classic 4 windows on either side of the front door, portico, wood shingles. It's got the white picket fence. The colonial house can easily feel stiff and cold and formal. And what this house has, and it's really a combination of the proportions, the height of the house, the size of the windows, and the setback from the street. Too much of a setback and the house is a little rich. Not enough of a setback, it's not quite enough. It strikes this balance between formal, comfortable, classic.
I never liked that Brian McKenzie.
The layout of the set is like a big L. You walk into the entryway and you have the living room on the left, the dining room on the right, and a big staircase taking you to the second floor in front of you. Behind the dining room, you have the kitchen. The missing void in that L becomes the backyard where the wedding takes place. So the final payoff of the movie pulls back from Nina and George dancing together in the empty living room. The layout is classic and believable. It allows this aesthetic to live comfortably even today.
Top of the home.
The yellow walls with the creamy trim are foundational. And I'm not sure there is anything that rises to the ubiquitous level of rom-com yellow. And I think there's a reason for that. It is warm, sunny, no pun intended. I think there's something hopeful about the color yellow. Sidebar anecdote, because I work with Nancy, that signature yellow color, which used to be Benjamin Moore Oriental Silk, but I think they've discontinued that color. It took them a couple of tries to get the right yellow. You have to be careful with yellow, not to go too sour, not to go too green, not to go too saturated, not to go too bright. It's not hopeful or romantic if you feel like you're living in a school bus. And if you want a rom-com vibe in your house, start with the yellow walls with the creamy trim.
And don't forget to fasten your condom.
Dad.
Seatbelt, amen.
Speaking of weddings, now is a great time to mention the sponsor of this video, Foreo. Foreo is celebrating their 12th birthday with amazing deals online. They make these LED face masks. Their newest model is called the FAQ 202. Their mask is made of flexible silicone, which is designed to fit your face. It's also super lightweight, wireless, and believe it or not, comfortable to wear. This product is designed to help with fine lines, acne scars, age spots. It will generally improve the look of your skin. I think it would make a great wedding gift or a bridesmaid's gift. It's memorable, it's like state-of-the-art high-tech, and it's on sale. If you'd like to check out the FAQ 202 and other best-selling Foreo products, you'll find the link to their website in the description box of this video. You will also find the special discount code, which is, get this, Jon35. You'll get 35% off the FAQ 202 and everything on their website. Even already discounted products, bringing the totals down to like 50% of their original price. Don't miss out on this great offer. I'd love to know what you think of what you get. Please write to me in the comments below.
Shut the door!
I mean, here's what's interesting about this house. It's small enough that people actually live in the living room. There's a fireplace with 2 built-in arched bookcases on either side. The sofa, especially if there's only one, tends to anchor one of the primary views. What we have in the Banks house is this very clear access from the entryway to the fireplace, framed by sofas on either side. It's not a sectional sofa, which feels like a family room. It's not a sofa facing 2 armchairs. The room tells you where the furniture wants to be. The Banks living room invites, doesn't demand, but it invites the formality of the 2 white sofas. An interesting fact about those sofas, Nancy told me that the sofas were originally chintz, big floral sofas, and when they got there on the day of filming, they just thought, oh my god, this is too much. The set decorator ran out and found 2 matching cream sofas, easier 25 years ago because you still had furniture stores with stock, and then they added the chintz pillows on top, which gives you balance between classic but formal living room setup.
Right? And now with an attitude. Hello!
I love that Swedish grandfather clock. It's a pretty sophisticated choice for an all-American Pasadena home in 1991. The contemporary interest in Scandinavian antiques, particularly Gustavian, Biedermeier, those became popular a little bit later. We put maybe a better version of that clock in Something's Gotta Give, but I have to say there's a lot of Gustavian painted furniture in the Something's Gotta Give house and Amanda's house in The Holiday. It just shows you that they have good taste. Somebody has good taste. One thing I noticed, and tell me if I'm crazy, I feel like in the second movie, the mantle color in the living room and the dining room is a little bit darker. Take a look and tell me if I'm right or wrong.
I look like the guy you married, right?
Kind of.
So the kitchen, the refrigerator, and the dishwasher are black. Those were probably modern choices at the time. If you'll notice, there's a glass front cabinet as a piece of furniture opposite the window wall. You'll notice not only the island, but all of the countertops are butcher block. Butcher block can be really hard to maintain. Going with blonde wood works beautifully with the yellow walls, and the counters are a peninsula. There is the sink counter with a little bay window over the sink, totally classic, with glass cabinets on either side, separating the cooking part of the kitchen from the eating part of the kitchen. The lower cabinets continue, and on the other side of that, you have a kitchen dining table. There is also an antique waxed pine sideboard with glass cupboards above it. There's French doors out to the back, and then balancing the exterior wall on the right, you have the back stairs. Lighting is the way we transform spaces in movies. By day, it's just a kitchen, and at night, it's got this other quality. And you can do the same thing at home. Spotlighting, lights inside of the glass cabinets, chandeliers over the kitchen table and the dining table. Lighting, especially put it on a dimmer, gives you a way to modify the tone and the feeling of the space. What usually defines a kitchen is the cabinetry. The cabinetry that they've chosen is this very classic white recessed center panel. For example, you'll see that's what we used in the kitchen in Something's Gotta Give. This is a version of that cabinetry which lives comfortably in a 1920s house. But the fact that they've got this freestanding 4-legged table with a butcher block top as the island, that's a contemporary choice. Kitchens are the first elements of a house that can start to feel old and dated. Because they made classic choices, the kitchen still feels timeless and contemporary today. Copper pots are a good choice for a cook's kitchen. And it's complicated, we use copper pots because Jane is a cook. She owns a bakery. Here, there's this oval pot rack above the island, which I feel like in the second film, there are more pots and they drop the height, so you really feel the presence of those pots as the center of the kitchen. And you tell me, but I think the kitchen might have grown a little bit in the second film. Tell me what you think.
This is a hard thing to tell parents, especially when they're my parents.
The dining room is super cute. We have an oval dining table, and that's important because the curves at the end are just softer, warmer, more inviting. And then the French provincial dining chairs. You probably wouldn't choose those chairs today. Antiques can get dark and heavy. So if the color is light, it's easier to blend different periods and styles. What I noticed this time, the fireplace in this dining room is in the corner, and it's light pine wax finish. Opposite it, when you see the reverse, there is a waxed pine corner hutch which mirrors and balances the mantle. We love symmetry. We love balance. We love an oval table with a chandelier in the center, and it's right on the axis that goes through the dining room, through the entry to the living room fireplace in one direction, and the other axis takes you back through French doors into the kitchen.
He's wearing Nikes.
The entryway is just a formal colonial entryway. White wainscot, bench by the door, which is particularly useful in the second film when they've got the suitcases packed to run to the hospital. You've got white architectural detail in the wainscot and the balustrade. It fits the architecture of the house, and you've got your signature yellow color on the walls above the wainscot. The back staircase, you know it's there. It's a nice texture, but that staircase down to a low landing down to the front door is signature because you see Annie as the bride come down the stairs. You see George at the very end of the movie. There's a lot that happens on those staircases.
Just kidding.
In the first movie, George and Nina's bedroom feels flat, and I think that's about the way that it's shot. I don't super notice the fireplace. In the second movie, they use the room more, so it feels more complete. The bedroom fits without calling attention to itself. And I think that's kind of appropriate for a middle-aged couple. I remember Annie's bedroom more than I do the master bedroom. The romance in the story belongs to Annie. You know what's so interesting about Annie's bedroom? It's not a kid's bedroom. It doesn't even really feel like a teenage girl's bedroom. It feels like it could be her bedroom today, and I think the reason for that is where we want to be with Annie is understanding how hard it is for this girl to leave home. There is this key scene where Annie comes home in tears. Brian gave her, is it a blender?
It's a blender.
Here's what's going on. She's scared, and her father comes in, and that bedroom, from the wrought iron bed to ruffly red and white striped pillowcases to the wallpaper, that bedroom beautifully reflects the warm, comfortable, romantic tone of the rest of the house.
A blender? I mean, what is this, 1958?
Even though Annie has moved out of the house, so ostensibly they could put the new baby in Annie's room, they decide that they need to build a nursery. Franck designs this room with French doors and a cathedral ceiling and these two arched bookcases on either side of the crib, which happen to mirror the built-in arched bookcases from the living room. Opposite that wall, there's what you call an ingle nook, this niche that the fireplace sits in. Rather than just having a flat wall with a chimney breast and a mantle and a fireplace, you set that back in its own niche with its own little windows, and it just creates another little cozy space. We see three parts of the backyard. The thing that comes back again and again is the basketball court. When George in the second movie makes the decision to sell the house, he has the transaction with Eugene Levy in that space. Our memories as an audience have to do with George playing basketball with his daughter. Then we have this outdoor gazebo area without a gazebo, and they end up with this lovely tent that they built in the other part of the backyard that connects to the living room. And that tent takes us to a space that could be anywhere. The fact that the backyard connects to the rest of the house allows us to transform the entire family family home into the wedding. The greenery ties you back to the front yard, ties you to the tree-lined street. There is no question that the backyard feels like an extension of the house. In the bathroom, which we only glimpse for 1 second when they're trying to keep the swans for the wedding warm, there's this clawfoot tub, and the color choice, it just belongs to that renovation style and aesthetic that is both old and new at the same time. Brian's parents live in what George clearly perceives as this imposing Spanish mansion in Bel Air. Not that their house is so bad, but they're definitely going to where the fancy people live. We see this formal Spanish house, but it's warm, it's beige, it's very tastefully done, but it doesn't feel cozy. That's the important thing for George to register, but what we're supposed to feel is imposing. We get to see how Annie lives when she grows up. There's something in this apartment that's a little bit of a mashup of the Spanish architecture of the house that Brian grew up in, but she has brought some Annie with her. There's this bottle glass detail, that green round glass, which may subtly recall the stained glass window from the staircase in George and Nina's house, or the sea glass collection in Nina's kitchen cabinet. And there's this red and white striped fabric that to me recalls the pillows in Annie's bedroom. It's all subtle. They've made deliberate choices to derive the architectural style from what we know about Brian's world through his parents' house, and the decorating style to reflect the influence of the Banks house that Annie grew up in. It explains what happens when two people make the decision to get married and live together. They bring their separate selves and create this new hybrid of the worlds that they each come from.
You old son of a gun.
The first Father of the Bride was made in 1991. This is totally subjective, but I'm going to say that movie might have been the birthplace of the aesthetic of romantic comedies that would continue through the 90s. I get why people want to live in that house and why they choose to design their houses using the Father of the Bride house as inspiration.